Alright, hi guys. So we're going to be reviewing X-Men Days of Future Past, my favourite X-Men film. I'd say it still hasn't really changed. Yeah. This movie is just perfect. There's this, then there's Logan, then there's X2. Yeah. This First Class is just... Oh my god, I don't even know how I'd rank all the films. I feel like after I've done this, I need to rank the films on my main channel. Yeah, after I've reviewed them all. Up to... if I'm going to rewatch New Mutants again and Dark Phoenix, but yeah. Because Logan's like the perfect place to stop watching. And then just see if Deadpool 3 is going to be good, because obviously I'll be reviewing that. And I just wonder what timeline that's going to be set in, if you know what happens in Logan, but let's just get into this film, yeah. So yeah, this is basically set in the future where mutants have become extremely endangered and a lot of them have been killed off. Even humans who tried to help them have been killed. It's just a dark future, yeah. So I guess the plan is to find a way to stop it. Then they play the X2 theme, but in Days of Future Past style, which is cool, yeah. I'd love to hear this one more time in Deadpool 3, but it's only if they do something where, you know, instead of just Wolverine being a cameo, they bring back some of the old team members from X-Men. Yeah, that'd be cool. And then they play this on, like in a fight scene. Yeah, even if that's one scene, that'd be so cool. If some of the actors would want to come back anyway. But yeah. So it starts off instantly in action. Them fighting the Sentinels, since they're the main threat in this film. And these are the most powerful Sentinels I've seen. The way I've designed them in this film. Yeah. Make them pretty unique, and they can adapt to all the mutants' powers and use their powers against them and stuff. Or it's like rock paper scissors, where one of them will use ice, but then the other one will use fire, and then back and forward. Yeah, just the way how they can fight them with their powers, and they just get destroyed over and over again in this film. You've got Bobby trying to fight him, and then Kitty Pryde, and just all of them trying to survive this apocalyptic world, yeah. And just seeing them all getting killed over and over again, man. This movie has a really dark vibe. Because after watching it, I just wanted to watch Deadpool. Because damn, this movie. And then I guess Charles's plan is to find a way, find a proper solution, and just keep going back in time until they do, yeah. Because Kitty Pryde has the ability to go back in time, so that's what they keep doing, I guess. So I guess Bolivar Trask is the one who actually created the Sentinels, and his operation started from I guess Mystique basically killing him. So it took him a few years to eventually make the Sentinels, but they eventually do many years later, or should I say decades later, and end up taking out most of the mutants, yeah. Even humans who tried to help him too, probably Moira and stuff. So the plan is to go back to 1973 to stop Trask from being killed by Mystique, because Mystique is the one who kills him. After what happens, which we'll see, after the events of First Class, yeah, when she leaves with Magneto. But they basically earned the ability to adapt to mutants' powers and counter them. Yeah, and it just makes them so dangerous. But yeah, they basically end up using Wolverine to I guess go back in time and stop all this from happening. And I guess the X-Men are just supposed to defend Wolverine, while Kitty Pryde's putting him back in time in 1973 in his younger body. I mean, I guess in this version Charles was supposed to be the one to do it, but they kind of changed it to Wolverine because he has more chance of surviving. Because he can just basically heal and stuff. His mind could survive it. For the most part it does anyway. That's all I will say. Man, if Charles is in that situation, oh my god, I can't imagine. He'd probably be dead, brain dead. Because even at one point, something like that happens to Wolverine. But yeah, we just had a little moment with Bobby and Kitty Pryde. Because who knows what happened to Rogue at this point? Even though there's a war cut, but the war cut's not included in this version of the film. So yeah. Well, the version that I watched anyway. But yeah, just put him back in time. He wakes up in some place with some mob daughter, ends up killing a bunch of guys with his claws. Realising he doesn't have the adamantium claws, and that's kind of a continuity error. Like I said many times, these movies always have continuity errors. Flipping in the Wolverine, and I'm talking about like at the beginning of the film when it's in the apocalypse time. He has his adamantium claws, which makes no sense because he lost him in the Wolverine. It's like they don't really go back and look at other films to see if they're gonna make any mistakes compared to Marvel, the MCU, where they'll like each movie will always have like an importance to the next one. Where X-Men films, they just completely would just not care. Like if they didn't like the film or if they hadn't seen the film, they're just gonna skip, important details, and then you're just so confused. Like what? That don't make no sense. Yeah, that can be an issue. Like with Trask at one point being black in X-Men 3, and also still being alive. It's confusing if that's supposed to be the same character, but yeah, it's very confusing. And this is Trask himself, played by Peter Dinklage. Good choice of an actor, but it just kind of confused me a bit because I get mixed up if the Trask from X-Men 3 is the same as the one from this film. I mean, some people say it is, but I don't know. I'd never remember his name, so unless it's just a randomly different Trask, I don't know. I'm not gonna try and work that out because, like I said, continuity errors. But then Mystique comes to like break out the other mutants. You kind of see Havoc from First Class as well, and yeah, she just basically gets everyone out. But I'm surprised she doesn't really use them to take down, Trask. She'd probably be more successful, even though in the original timeline she does kill, Trask by herself. Like she's just a bit more like the old Mystique in this film. But there's a part of her that could, that Charles could still possibly get through, but it's really hard because she's like in her X-Men 1 kind of Mystique persona, but even worse because she's not even like loyal to Magneto in this film, so damn, like things are that deep. And you got this guy, basically it's Stryker but younger. Yeah. So then, Wolverine basically goes to Charles Xavier's house, and I guess you see Hank there, and it's just not letting in Wolverine. Just pushes him out the way. Then he's going into beast mode, and then they have a little scuffle. But yeah, he ends up finding Charles, but is not really in his best condition. Yeah, he's kind of a mess. Like after the events of First Class, it got to a certain point where he just blamed himself for, I guess, Mystique leaving, and then I don't know if he also knows about the other mutants dying, because a lot of the characters from First Class end up dying, then others end up in the army, but I guess Mystique breaks out some of them, like Havoc. But yeah, a lot of the other characters, like Angel and stuff, just end up dying. Azazel, which would he have still made, given birth to Nightcrawler, if that's supposed to be his dad, but yeah. But yeah, basically, I guess Charles found a way to like get rid of his powers, so he's in less pain with, I guess, his failures and stuff, and he's also able to walk temporarily. Yeah, it's like some kind of drug. Kind of reminds me of Like a Dragon, of a certain character in that. Yeah, but he just basically nullifies his powers. He can't use his powers and stuff, and he's able to walk. But this doesn't even seem like he's happy even using this anyway. Yeah. But you could imagine that there'd be a point where Charles would just be so depressed from just feeling like he's failed the X-Men. I mean, in this universe, he kind of did. Like, basically everyone just leaves. Yeah, unless some of them decided to leave after Charles just broke down after Mystique and stuff. Failing Magneto, not being able to walk, all that at the same time. Yeah. Then they show a flashback to, First Class, when they first met. Like when he first met Mystique, yeah. And then when Wolverine's trying to convince him about, his past, his future self, sending Wolverine here to stop a dangerous threat, like, he just didn't believe him, and it just basically says F off. It's supposed to be a reference to, like, First Class, a movie they've actually watched, because, yeah, if they didn't at least watch First Class, I can't imagine how bad the story would be. But you can tell they've already watched it, so... And I think Mystique basically disguises herself as Trask to get some information of the Sentinel Project and finds out all the others that are dead. Yeah. and this is when they kind of meet Quicksilver, probably the goat of the film. Yeah, like, it's hilarious. They basically ask him to basically break out his father out of prison, which they don't fully. I mean, they basically give you a hint, but they don't fully, like. It's not like there's a scene where they both talk, and when Magneto gets out, and they're actually talking about being a father and a son, like the 90s show does. And in that, you kind of got like Scarlet Witch, which in this she's only a little girl, so they're not really going to do much with her in this film. And it just sucks to never do anything with her and Quicksilver, but like older versions, because not long after it goes straight to Logan, and we all know how that goes. Yeah, if that's even canon to this timeline afterwards, after some of the changes. But yeah, just Quicksilver in these scenes is just the go. Just how he just brushes through like a bunch of guards with Magneto, and he just feels sick afterwards. And they kind of also make hints about Quicksilver's dad, like his mum dating someone who used to be able to do what he could do, with Magnet and stuff. And the reason why Magneto's even in this prison is because he's been accused of killing the president. That's just crazy. But he said he tried to save him, and I don't know if like it was another mutant that had the ability to curve bullets or something, and he was trying to stop it. But Magneto, he can also do that too. Like, he can curve bullets, which you'll see in a later scene. And things just get out of hand when Charles is trying to negotiate with these guards, saying he works like in this area, but they don't believe him, so Wolverine just knocks him out. And then when Charles sees him, he knocks him out because Charles in this is just so pissed. He blames Eric for everything. Probably doesn't blame him for like not being able to walk. That was the accident, but everything else, with his first class, all of them basically dying apart from Havoc. I guess not including Mystique, and then you still got Hank by your side. Like, he was the only one that actually stayed. So to me, if I was in that situation, I was at my lowest point, and Hank was there for me the whole time. Bruh, forget Eric. Hank is my best friend, sticking by me all that time, at my worst. Yeah, and then we get the classic, Quicksilver scene. Like, man, probably the best scene of the film. One of the best scenes. Probably because the final battle, like the final moment when it's going between past and future, that's just like the best in the whole franchise. But this is probably one of the best moments in the franchise too. Just seeing Quicksilver is, most best compared to like, Age of Ultron. What they did with Quicksilver in that, where he could even dodge a bullet, but in this he's like moving so many bullets out the way, and it just kind of insults basically the flipping Age of Ultron Quicksilver, who couldn't dodge just a few bullets. It's just stupid. But yeah, I guess they had to have a death in that film, but Quicksilver, and you kill him in a way that doesn't make sense. Like, bruh, do you just not like Quicksilver or something? Why'd it have to be him? I mean, I don't know who else they could have killed. I mean, they do kill another character in that film, but yeah. We'll get to that eventually if I ever review all of the MCU, when things actually get back on track. But I might just review them soon anyway, but yeah. So yeah, basically stops Magneto and Charles from dying. Wolverine would have been fine, but I'm not sure what kind of bullets they were. I don't know if it like affects their powers in any way. But yeah, just moves them all out the way. They end up leaving, like on the plane together, and I guess Wolverine's telling him about his past. Well, I keep saying past self, but future self. Basically, telling them to work together and stuff to be able to stop this threat. And then when Magneto finds out that it's Mystique who's the threat, yeah, we'll get to that. Even though he had like a huge bond with Mystique. But Charles and Eric had the biggest bond, but it seems like their friendship's a bit broken right now. Like them blaming each other for what happened to the mutants that they were working with in first class. Yeah, and then Magneto's just flipping, then breaking down the ship after Charles just saying you abandoned me, and then flipping Magneto's like, where were you, Charles? How couldn't you protect them? Even though he was the one who was in charge of them. And Wolverine's just like, he was always an asshole. And then talking about being survivors and stuff, yeah. Like, I kind of wish they had more scenes together, because, man, they were how to just bounce off each other, and then Mystique's just trying to, like, kill one of these guys. Well, I'm not sure if she's trying to kill him, but maybe get some information out of him. Yeah, basically trying to trick him and get him what she needs. And then they're just basically talking about Mystique and how she was before she left, I guess. And how she basically became maybe worse than Magneto, because for what she does, ends up like basically making the Days of Future Past timeline and dooming all the mutants. Yeah. Because Magneto at this point hasn't really done anything that's going to make him, you know, want to kill all the mutants, but I mean, by the time you get to like X1 and X2, you can get to that point, but yeah. Just what Mystique, you know, ends up doing in the original timeline. Yeah. Then we get to this scene where Trask is trying to propose the Sentinel program, but Mystique basically takes over like the guy's body who she took out, and tries to like listen in on the plans, but then Trask has like some kind of device that can sense when mutants are nearby, and then she kind of has to act on that and tries to kill Trask. They end up also getting nearby to stop Mystique, and it looks like they're here to help her, but then Magneto realizes that he might need to kill her. And then Wolverine ends up seeing you know, Stryker, young Stryker, and he ends up seeing flashes from the past, I guess. And we get a little, well, more like the future in a way. But yeah, Wolverine's just messed up in this moment. And then, you know, Mystique's trying to escape, like the way how Wolverine is just kind of a mess at the same time. And when he gets up, like, and then he attacks Charles and stuff, and Hank, and his reaction to flipping Hank, like, what the hell is that? Hilarious. Yeah, it's like we've gone back to like flipping X-Men Origins Wolverine, where he's just forgot everything. I just got shot by adamantium again. Yeah. But just the way how flipping Magneto just curves the bullet into flipping Mystique's leg, and she's just trying to escape, disguising herself as people and stuff. Yeah. This scene's like just so good. Before the final scene, this is like a really good scene, and then flipping Hank just fighting Magneto in the water, and then like Magneto just like chains him up, and everyone's just taking pictures of Hank. It's some crazy stuff, boy. And yeah, Wolverine's just a mess at this point, and kind of injures Kitty. Yeah, she gets hurt while trying to control him still. And they're just trying to get to flipping Wolverine, because he's a mess right now. And I guess the president's trying to think what they should do about the mutants, and Trask's just trying to basically explain all the things they was able to do, and how that could be a threat in the future. So he might be willing to like give the Sentinel program an actual chance, and I think they was able to actually get the blood they needed to, since, you know, that's kind of like Magneto's fault really. So even though Magneto was trying to kill her, he ends up basically leaving a lot of Mystique's blood for them to actually go through the Sentinel program, helping them achieve decades of work. Like, man, it's like Magneto for once actually ended up dooming the mutants if they don't take care of this situation. And now they're just basically trying to convince, you know, her to come back, but after Magneto tried to kill her, she's not really going to listen to anyone at this point, especially Eric. Yeah, I mean, Charles does the best he can, but he's not going to get through to her. But yeah, Charles decides to stop taking the drug, which just, it's like watching a junkie in this scene. Like, damn, like, he's probably like depended on it like so much to not have to feel pain and stuff, but really deep down he's still feeling pain. It's not really doing enough. Yes, he can walk, but he's not being able to use his powers for, you know, good. But he probably feels like he's just a failure and he won't basically be able to help anybody. But he decides to do the right thing to get to Mystique, because it's going to cost them all their lives in the future. So he kind of had no choice. He had to try to talk to her. Yeah. And you got Stryker. It's basically going to back up Trask on the flipping president meeting thing. Let me go to Cerebro. He goes on to put on the helmet. And and you can just kind of see like Charles is out of it in this scene. He's not able to control things properly, and it's just a mess. He just doesn't want to feel all this suffering because he just wasn't prepared for it after all this time. Yeah. He just doesn't want his suffering or his future when he looks into Wolverine's mind and everything he's been through, all the losses and everything. Yeah. But then he ends up trying to see the good in what comes in their future. And then he ends up seeing, his future students and himself. Yeah. So we get to see the old Charles talk with the young Charles, and it's just such a good scene. Yeah. Like flipping the older Charles, just encouraging the young Charles is also just another great scene. One of the best talking moments in the franchise again. Because I have to say, these films always have some of the best dialogue in a film, in a superhero film. And you can sometimes say that with MCU, but just the way how they handle dialogue in the X-Men films, it's what makes you care about the characters so much. So yeah, just my biggest issue with these films is not because they're sometimes bad, but because the continuity errors, man. It kind of messes up the story a bit. Where the Infinity Saga, like they made sure for the most part everything, pieced together. It'll just be like small times where they'll make like Fox X-Men mistakes, but most of the time everything's connected together in a good way. So when you get to like Endgame, it's just mostly satisfying, I'd say. Most people would say 100% satisfying, but I'd say mostly, yeah. But yeah, he just basically motivates him. Then he tries to talk to Mystique. It doesn't work out, so he basically tries to go over to the president area to like stop her from what she's doing. Yeah, and then the final battle ends up commencing for them in the future. So they have to defend the X-Men while the final plans are going ahead. But yeah, he's not able to get through to her. But he knows where she is, so he ends up following her, I guess. And I don't remember this scene in the film, so this is probably like an add-on, which just kind of makes no sense to the story. In this moment, he could have basically stopped her, but he decides to just make out of her and talk with her, catch up. So yeah, they didn't really have this in the original version of the film, and I don't think this version has the world cut too. Yeah, unless it does, because I guess this is the version that adds scenes which kind of break the movie. Because if he had Mystique and he lets her go, that just makes no sense. And then Magneto just gets his old helmet back. And I kind of like what they do with his comic book outfit from First Class in this. Like, it's more like olden form, and just the way how it just looks, it's just, I like it. It's like one of his best designs. Because I feel like it was a bit too much in First Class, but that was just at the end. So I'm happy I didn't see it for a whole film, but yeah, I kind of like how it looks in this film. So he basically gets his old helmet back. On to battle, and then we're just seeing the X-Men die once again. Yeah, and they keep having to push back as they get closer. There's only amount of time they can hold out, but I guess this version has the world cut, because I watched a version that didn't have the world cut, so they kind of fit her back into the story. She was like, I think, prisoned in some kind of area before, but they end up breaking her out to help, I guess, Kitty Pryde. But I think in this version, she ends up replacing Kitty Pryde. Like, she has the power to be able to because she can just, I don't know, in this version, like, she ends up actually getting the power to take other people's powers. I think, I'm not sure, but I think she takes Kitty Pryde's place in this version of the film. So that's her use in this film. Yeah. In that version of the film, the world cut. Yeah. Because I guess Magneto goes to help her. I can't remember if Bobby also helped, but yeah, because I haven't watched the World Cup for a long time. I just watched the original version on Disney Plus. That doesn't make some other errors, but at least they actually gave World Cup purpose in this version. Yeah. And this is when you get to like the big president event, where she goes to try to kill Trask, but it seems like she would have made the even darker future. Possibly killing the president, because with all the information she finds out, that the mutants would be doomed in the future. She probably thinks, oh man, I don't just need to kill Trask, I need to kill everyone. Oh my god. Right, she goes that crazy. Because damn. Because when it comes to Magneto, he tried to save President Kennedy and finds out he was also a mutant, so yeah. He probably felt like he was trying to help the cause. So if he saved him, man, basically would have a president in flipping office. Basically did. Yeah. But he got assassinated. Who knows, maybe by a striker or something. But then you just see Magneto using like probably the best he does with his powers in this film when it comes to the past one, because the older Magneto is like holding off the Sentinels by destroying their ships, making them bump into each other, which is pretty cool. But yeah, just seeing him lift a whole stadium, so good. Yeah, so cool. And then I'm not sure what Hank's doing in this scene. And the Sentinels end up, starting to move because they sense mutants. And it just causes chaos, and just look at all those Sentinel ships that are about to kill our X-Men in the future. Yeah, this is basically the best part of the film, just seeing the past and the future at the same time. I'd love to see something like this in an actual good Terminator film in modern day, but we're just never going to get Terminator back at this point. Never. It's just the way how it all goes together is just so good. You've seen Magneto be a hero in the future, while in the past he's basically the big threat. Yeah. How he ends up controlling one of the Sentinels and making it attack Charles and them, Wolverine. And then you just got Bishop, basically absorbing enemies' blasts and then just using it to fight against them. But then they end up absorbing. Well, he ends up absorbing too much, where he ends up killing him, but he becomes like a big explosion. Yeah, you just see them all die in this version. It's just weird to have Rogue in this version too. Yeah. Then Colossus just trying to fight him off too. Just all the X-Men doing everything they can, even if they die, and then Wolverine just flipping gets screwed in this scene. Yeah, making a reference to him being a survivor, and then Magneto just says, "I guess you're not a survivor after all," because Wolverine views Magneto as a survivor, but then he ends up just flipping Wolverine away. But we know he's going to be fine anyway. Perfect. He ends up getting found by a striker, and that just basically sets up the new timeline for Wolverine, the new X-Men Origins Wolverine, which they kind of fit into X-Men Apocalypse afterwards. Yep. But then I guess Magneto kind of takes out the President's bunker, and just basically it exposes him, and then he just wants everyone to have their cameras on. He moves them all in their direction, so he's going to execute the president, fighting for human rights, I guess. But this is just going to make things worse, really, instead of better. And you kind of see, like, Quicksilver and his sister are basically watching their father. And Charles is trying to do something, but they need to take off his helmet. Yeah. To stop him. He's basically saying no more hiding, we deserve more rights and stuff like that. But then Mystique's able to get close enough to, basically stop him. And then Charles is able to control him. And then it gets to the scene where, Mystique's got the president and Trask at gunpoint. But Charles is just trying to get through her one last time, but instead making it her choice. Yeah. Because she ends up saving the president, but then she wants to possibly shoot him. But yeah. Charles is just basically doing one last try to stop her from killing the president and Trask. But at the end of the day, he ends up just letting her decide, because imagine if she chose the one choice, we'd have a worse timeline than than what we actually had in the future. I can't imagine, but I mean, when you get to Logan, Vincent's still not perfect, but at least mutants are not extinct fully. Yeah, that's what I'll say. And I doubt Deadpool 3 is going to change that, but we'll see what they do with Deadpool 3. Yeah, but I don't really want Logan to be a race. That's perfection film. Or I don't even know if it's a different timeline, but yeah. I guess we'll get some answers in Deadpool 3 to make things make more sense. But yeah. Mystique decides to like spare the president and Trask, even though she really wanted to kill Trask more. But yeah, she just ends up leaving. And I think Charles lets Magneto go. Yeah. And what about Logan? He kind of wakes up in the future, getting to see all the other mutants again, alive, even Jean, Hank, just everyone. It's a great scene. Like him getting to talk to Jean, even Scott, of all people. Yeah. I just kind of wish they had more scenes together, but yeah, seeing Scott was cool. I'm just trying to get like a perfect shot, but I can't. Like, oh well. It was just cool seeing Scott again, yeah. Yeah, there he is. But yeah. So basically, Wolverine has remembered everything from all of his lives, apart from when he got shot by the bullet. Like, yeah. But he won't really know this timeline and all the things that possibly have changed. Because maybe X1 and 2 probably still happen to some degree, but there'll still be some things that have changed. And then X-Men 3, probably fully erased. Unless they still did the Cure storyline, but it would be a bit different. Yeah. But then you kind of find out of some of the things they end up changing in Apocalypse and stuff, so yeah. And Dark Phoenix, and I'm not really happy with some of those choices. Yeah. I'm not. Yeah. I mean, they're not terrible films at this point, they're just average. Yeah. With some great scenes. The average with some great scenes, yeah. And then Charles saying like, what's the last thing can you remember? While also saying they need to have a long talk of what's happened and what could possibly be different in this timeline. But then Stryker ends up finding Wolverine, and then the movie ends. And yeah, it's just a legendary film. Still's aged well after 10 years, which, man, it's crazy to say this movie's like, is it 10 years old? I can't remember if this came out in 2015, but isn't it 2014 in some places? But yeah. Anyway, it's still a classic. It's still my favourite X-Men film. I just hope we can get a proper X-Men, like more like the 90s X-Men in the MCU after 97. Since 97's been so good, I just hope it can make us finally get like true X-Men. There's some elements they could still use in this, but I want them to use more of like the 90s X-Men and 97 as a template. Yeah, but you know, this is still my favourite X-Men film until they finally make a true X-Men film. And it feels weird to say that because this is just so good, but I mean, like, truly feel like the X-Men, like, you know, have Scott, you know, the leader of the X-Men in battle, and just don't make Wolverine like the main spotlight, like, so much. Because even in 90s X-Men, he still shines in moments, but he's not supposed to be the only focus. There's other X-Men to focus on. Yeah, and I just hope they learn from that after X-Men 97's success. Yeah. But yeah, guys, hope you enjoyed the review. What's your favourite X-Men film? Days of Future Past like me, or any of the others? But yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.